What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the best budget fluid head tripod from Neewer. So starting off, we have our tripod here, and I'm going to talk about, first I'm going to start off by opening it, setting it up, and then talking about some of the benefits and some of the things that are not so good about it finally at the end. So starting off, it comes in this nice bag here, and it is a decent sized bag. The folding size of this is it goes down to less than around 19 inches, so it's pretty small, and it extends all the way up to 70 inches, which is really tall. So the first thing coming out, one of the bad things is a little bit harder to get this to come out of the bag. It's a really tight fit, but the bag quality is pretty good, so at least that's a plus. So first of all, you have your tripod right here, and then one negative aspect is that the handle comes separately from the tripod itself, and to fold it up and put in the bag, you would have to take it off. So that's one of the negatives. So let's start off by getting this tripod extended outwards. So basically, to start off, you gotta flip the legs upside down, all three of them, and there are 3 levels of leg adjustment, where there is a little clicking setup here where they will all be the same length, and that's the first length here, and then the second length is right here if you need a wider base for a stronger setup, as you can see right here. And then finally there's a 3rd level of adjustment, which is almost flat out. As you can see, that's how it's gonna be. So it's nice that it has this customizability, where this is probably the most sturdy setup here, as you can see. And you can also invert this tripod, which is really good about it, as when you fold it up, the legs come up like this. That way it's really good for macro shots if you want to get close down to the ground. So I'm gonna fully extend this tripod and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so here we have our tripod, and we can put all the legs down to the highest way to extend it. So there are 3 different extension clips over here, and as well as there is a adjustable centerpiece in the middle here, which can adjust to any height that it needs. It's about maybe a little bit over 2 feet of adjustment, so it goes from here down to the top. So that's a cool part. There's also this nice foam handle, and for the final piece, we can put on this handle that just screws onto the side. So once this is done, your tripod is set up and you can mount the camera on top, and that's pretty much it. There is a green green leveler that shows you if you're level or not, and in order to change the speed at which the fluid head moves up and down, there's a knob on the side here that loosens to go up and down, as well as a lock right beside your thumb here for moving it left and right. It doesn't adjust a lot for the side to side, it just either locks or moves, and but for the up and down, you can feel the difference as you tighten it and loosen it. And that's pretty much it for the height of this tripod. So if you want to see, it can extend up to 70 inches, which as you can see is usually more than enough for anything that you guys might need to do. And these legs are all removable, where you can turn this into a monopod function actually, which is also pretty nice feature. So it is a very sturdy tripod, and another bonus is that the fluid head is very smooth, and you can get some really nice shots with it. I've been using this for around a week now, and I'm getting some pretty amazing shots from this fluid head. And it's got a nice grip here, and the quick release plate is pretty good because you can still access your SD card and battery box in the bottom without having to remove the quick release plate. So now talking about some negatives of this tripod. Some of the problems is, especially as you see in the beginning, set up and tear down of this tripod is quite a bit of work. It takes more work. You have to take off this handle, especially. That's one negative, that I do not like, having to remove the handle every time and then having to put it back in. And instead of just collapsing the legs, you have to like flip them over, remove the leveler, and then pull it all the way to the top. That takes a little bit more effort than some other tripods. And one other bigger issue that I found is in the fluid head, when you're moving one direction and you choose to turn it around, there's a little bit of space, around maybe an inch or so of space, where it does not have that fluid motion. It just it's losing that turning fluidity basically, and then it finally catches back on. So if you're tracking something going left and then right, there's gonna be an inch of space, which is just not gonna be very fluid. So that's a very major problem with that fluid head. That's pretty much the biggest issue I found with it when you're moving it left and right. And a third thing is that I want to talk about the quick release plate on the bottom. There are some tripods which have a knob that you could tighten and untighten yourself, but this one just has a screw with a flat head on it, which is really hard to do it with your hands, and majority of the time you're going to be having to carry a coin if you want to loosen and unloosen the fluid head. If you would like to loosen up the quick release plate. That's a negative aspect also, to having to remove the quick release plate from your camera every time. And one more thing is, on top of the tripod, when you attach the fluid head, there is a tightening knob, but the problem is when you're putting your camera on top, the knob has to go around in circles to tighten, but your camera always gets in the way of that, so you cannot tighten it. So you need to always take your camera out and then reposition that. So that's a problem. To maybe placing that knob in a different location would be much better, so you can tighten it and untighten. As you can see, this knob right here, it goes up pretty high, and this is usually where your camera is, so you cannot tighten your camera onto the tripod without having to, sometimes having to reposition the knob. So this has been it for the tripod review. It's got a lot of nice features going for it. One of my favorite things is this accent color red this Neewer tripod has. It's got a nice solid grip here that you can carry the tripod around with. It's a very sturdy tripod, and it's a great deal, just $65 for being a fluid head. Most fluid heads cost more than $200, so this is great for being such a nice price. and it has a decent working fluid head. It's got this one problem with the lag, but it's a cheaper head, so that's one of the bigger problems. But overall, it's a great tripod. It can extend very high and still be under 19 inches when you pack it up. So that's been it for this tripod review. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to click right above the tripod to subscribe. But just like that, this video is about to be done. I'm out in 3, 2, 1.